Hi everyone, welcome to Vinyasa Flow. My name is Michelle Chua, and for this spinal twisting and hip opening practice and combination, you'll want to have a couple of blocks. You may even like to have a blanket and a strap just in case. You might even fold up the blanket to sit on as we begin in a comfortable version of cross-legged, if that works for you, where you can either cross the shins at the center of each like this. This is called easy pose or sukhasana, or splay the thighs even wider in auspicious pose. Start to connect with the body. Let it be still. Root down evenly through the left and right sides of the bottom of your pelvis. Lengthen up through the center of your spine as you relax your shoulders. And if it helps you bring more attention to the body, resting left hand on your chest, right hand on your lower belly, you might add that. So in your mind's eye, scanning around and observing whatever sensations you're feeling. Include the sensations of the breath as you let it flow naturally. Becoming more attuned to your energetic state. And then notice the energy of your heart, or rather your emotions, any emotion present. Sense your mind, anything you're feeling there. And let's slow the breath down, allowing it into your nose and out to your mouth. Each time slightly a bit deeper. Maybe now adding a pause at the top and at the bottom of the breath. So the physical practice of spinal twists, as I've mentioned throughout last week and the beginning of this, includes promoting flow, unstucking ourselves, whether physically, digestion, or tension along the spine, or energetically, as that touches upon the area of the main chakras in your body or energy centers, or mentally. And oftentimes, as we move into the process of the so-called spring cleaning, literally or metaphorically, we can come across things that we haven't looked at in a while. You know, things might have been swept under the carpet, and as we declutter, we find old stuff. What do we do with that? Today, I want to bring us into practice later in meditation that we practiced recently in mindfulness practice of being with discomfort when it arises. And as you breathe in, allowing yourself to experience the sensation or emotion as it is. And as you breathe out, loosening any grip you might have surrounding the discomfort. So I'm introducing it now because it can be applicable when we're practicing physical yoga. Sometimes we stir things up. We might find challenges in the body or tensions or aches. How do we bring mindfulness to those encounters and be with ourselves with compassion? Breathing in, allowing ourselves to experience just exactly what's here now. And breathing out, beginning to loosen any grip or resistance around the experience of what's here now. So bring that to mind as we practice. I invite you to join your hands in prayer at your heart. And at this point, what is something that you can offer gratitude for. And from there, set your intention for today's practice. And as we step outside the ego mind and think of the bigger picture we're a part of, I invite you to choose someone to dedicate today's practice to. And together, let's open the space with resonance by chanting Om 3 times. Inhale deeply. Let's begin the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing technique, a way to steady your mind and relax your nervous system while helping to warm up your body, preparing it to move. So as you're closing your lips, sustain your breath evenly in and out through your nose while creating a very soft whispering sound by gently narrowing the back of your throat. Taking your time to fill up and to let go with each cycle of breath. As you listen to that gentle rhythm you're creating, we'll start to move. So as you're sitting cross-legged here, rooting your sitting bones down, inhale as you raise your arms forward and overhead, sitting a little taller, relax the shoulders down. Exhale as you twist to your, let's go to the right side, and open your arms, release the hands down. Stay here, inhale, press the pelvis down and lift up through the back of your skull. Keep relaxing the shoulders. Exhale, keep your pelvis still and continue to rotate your rib cage so that you're twisting mainly underneath your lowest ribs. One more deep breath. Inhale up to center and then root your sitting bones. Exhale, start to fold forward, walking the hands onto the ground ahead of you. Find a little lift in your chest as you peel the shoulder heads back and away from your neck. The further you bow forward, the deeper you'll want to root your sitting bones, creating balance of grounding and extending yourself. Activate your lower belly by drawing it in, and inhale to rise up, raise your arms overhead. Then exhale, twist to your left side, open your arms, and release the hands down. Let's stay here a few breaths exploring the twist. Inhale, root down to lift up. Exhale, continue to turn your rib cage. So as we take different forms of spinal twists today, focusing on stabilizing your lower back when you're in an upright twist like this by keeping the pelvis still. Inhale, raise your arms up. Now let's switch the cross of your legs so we can even out the stretch in the hips as we exhale to forward fold. Inhale, root your hips down and lengthen your spine, keeping a slight lift in your chest. Exhale, continue to forward fold. Then inhale, slowly rise up. Keep the breath rhythm going as you make your way to stand in mountain pose, right up at the top of your mat, in which you might want to place blocks in front of your feet. So separating your feet hips width apart, parallel to each other, join your hands in prayer at your heart and reconnect with your intention, your personal prayer for today's practice. Let's flow to the breath in Surya Namaskar C, Sun Salutation C. As you inhale, sweep your arms forward, roll your shoulders back and down and gaze up. As you exhale, hinge forward from your hips and feel free to bend your knees if that helps you to fold with more ease. Plant your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step your left knee behind you and gaze up, kneeling lunge. While holding your breath, step into plank pose. Exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward onto the ground, entering Cobra pose, rolling your shoulders back. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb, lower your right knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Press down to your feet, inhale, rise up to Urdhva Hastasana. As though blessing yourself, join your hands in prayer from your crown to your heart energy center. Once more, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step, right knee back, look up, Anjaneyasana. While holding your breath, step into plank. Exhale, Ashtangasana, lower knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, Bhujangasana, slither forward, entering Cobra pose. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward beside your right thumb, lower your left knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Press down, inhale, rise, lifting your heart center. Exhale, marry your palms there. Moving on to Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. This time, press your fingertips on your shins, blocks, or the floor, and inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Step back to plank, and as you engage your abdomen, exhale, glide forward, and bend your elbows back to hug your side ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana. Choose either Cobra or upward facing dog as you inhale to coil your chest up. Exhale, let's meet in downward dog, pausing for 3 breaths. Let your body be still as you lift your hips high and root downward through the heels. Soften your neck as you steady your gaze. When you finish your 3rd exhale, walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, press with your hands, lengthen to half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, rise to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together in Padasana. One more time, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Either step to plank and lower forward down, or float into Chaturanga Dandasana. Taking it through your Vinyasa, let's meet in downward facing. Pausing for 3 deep breaths. When you're in downward dog, bring your feet together so they touch. Then from your right hip socket, rotate your right thigh externally at the hip, turning it out. Flexing your right foot, cross your right ankle in front of your left shin or thigh, above or below the knee, and using your hands to evenly press the floor away, draw your hips high and evenly back. Firming in the belly, relax your neck. A few deep breaths. You might call this figure 4, downward facing dog. So using that contact of your right ankle pressing your left leg to help splay open the right thigh. Next, in breath, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale as you bend the knee towards the sky, turning the leg out. Stay there as you inhale and tack your left outer hip back. Then exhale, touch your right knee across to your left elbow, stacking your shoulders over your wrists in plank. Then lightly step your right foot forward beside your right thumb, entering a high lunge. Press to your feet, inhale, rise, crescent pose. As we stay a few breaths, right away land your gaze intentionally just ahead of you. Sense the quality of your breath. Having your feet hips width apart and parallel to each other, imagine you're dragging your feet towards each other without visible movement. Draw your tailbone down and slightly lift your frontal hip bones as you square both of your hips to evenly face forward. Let's listen to the last few breaths here. Spin your left heel down and align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Open your arms, gazing past your right hand in Warrior Two, while bending your right knee just above your right heel. Press the outside edge of your left foot firmly into the floor. Rotating your right outer hip beneath your body to turn out the leg. Align your right kneecap with your right pinky toe and firm the top of your left thigh bone back. Invite your spine to its most vertical position as you relax the shoulders for a few more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2. Now take a strap in your left hand here and keep your right knee bent. Let's prepare for bound side angle pose. A little more hip opening. So with the left hand holding the strap, wrap the tail around your back until that long tail is hanging on the right side of your right thigh. Rotating your right glute slightly beneath you, tack the crease of your right hip towards your left outer foot, while you inhale, lengthen your torso towards your front wall. Bring your right arm onto the inner side of your right thigh to catch hold of the other end of the strap. Then as you keep your arms straight, walk your hands as close together as you can on the strap, rotating your chest slightly to face the sky so there's a bit of a twist happening. Breathe in, root evenly through your feet, and stretch the crown of your head forward. Breathe out, spiral your chest open, and send your shoulders down the back. Now, you don't want to feel like you are bowing towards your left wall here. In fact, you want to feel slightly like you're leaning back with no impingement in the lower back. If so, if you're feeling anything there, you can give yourself more slack on the strap and lift your torso a little higher. Last few breaths in Baddha Parshvakonasana. Some of you might clasp the hands and drop the strap. Now keep your right knee bent and press to your feet. Inhale to Peaceful Warrior, side bend towards your rear wall. Exhale down to a Vinyasa if you choose. We'll meet in Downward Facing Dog. At Downward Dog, bring your feet together to touch and turn out your left thigh at the hip. Flexing your left foot, cross the ankle in front of your right shin or thigh. Splaying the left thigh further open, evenly press the floor away with both hands as you lift your hips high and back. Let your head fall. Deep breaths here. Figure four, downward dog. On your next inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee and turn out the leg. Stay there. As you inhale, tack your right outer hip back. Exhale, cross the left knee to touch right elbow in plank before softly stepping the foot forward beside your left thumb. Stay in a high lunge, then inhale, rise to crescent. With your gaze steady and your breath relaxed, feel your center activated as you drop your tailbone downward, square your hips forward, and slightly lift your frontal hip bones. Spin your right heel down. Warrior two, align left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot. While opening your arms, gaze steadily just past your left hand. Bending the left knee right above the heel. Root the outer edge of your right foot down. Rotating your left sitting bone under you. Firm the top of your right thigh bone back. Shoulders relaxed, lifting through the back of your skull. A few more deep breaths in Virabhadrasana 2. Take the strap in your right hand this time as we prepare for bound side angle. Wrap the long tail behind your back until it's dangling on the left side of your left thigh. Keep bending your left knee and rotating your left outer hip under you, tacking your left hip crease back towards your right outer foot. Lengthen your torso towards your front wall and bring the left arm on the inner side of your left thigh to hold the other end of the strap. Keeping your arms straight, walk your hands closer together and rotate your chest slightly to face the sky. Possibly clasping the hands, making sure you're listening to your body here. You want to be leaning slightly back, a little spiraling in the torso. Few more breaths in Baddha Parshvakonasana. Keep the bend in your left knee. Inhale, rise and side bend towards your rear wall in Peaceful Warrior. Again, optional to flow through a vinyasa or a few rounds of cat-cow, resting if you need. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Checking in with your body, notice your energy. 3 deep breaths. Empty this breath, then walk or float to the front of your mat. Let your feet touch. Bring your hands to your hips and inhale to rise. Joining your hands at your heart. Rotate the right thigh open at the hip for tree pose, Vrikshasana. Hug your sole of your right foot against your inner left ankle, calf, or thigh. And press the left leg back into your right foot, sandwiching your midline. As you root down to your left foot, lift the energy up the center line of your body, maybe choosing to raise your arms, your gaze, or closing your eyes. Vrikshasana. Just like in the front leg of Warrior Two, wrap your right outer hip downward towards your inner left heel, feeling that turn out of your right leg at the hip. One more deep breath. Join your hands in prayer at your heart. Step your right foot down to meet the left, and inhale to chair pose, knees together. At your waistline, exhale, start to twist to the right. 5 breaths here, maybe hooking the left elbow outside of your right thigh, or like we practiced last week, maybe taking twisting crow, the arm balance. Inhale as you lengthen your spine. Exhale as you continue to twist. Come back to center and chair. Breathe in. Exhale to mountain pose. Let's shift the weight to your right foot. Turn out your left thigh at the hip and press the sole of your left foot against your inner right ankle, calf, or thigh. Pressing back into the foot with your right leg, stand tall, tree pose. Deep breath here. Bring your hands to your heart center and step your left foot down to meet the right. Inhale to chair or Utkatasana. Exhale, entering twisting chair or Parita Utkatasana. Breath by breath, exploring your range. Stabilize your lower back by not turning the pelvis. You can see that in your knees. Maybe come into the arm balance, twisting crow. Parita Bakasana. Back through center. Inhale to chair. And exhale to rise. Let's separate the feet hips width apart. Backstroke your arms and place your hands on your lower back. Fingertips face down. Draw your tailbone towards your inner heels and keep your hips slightly forward. Breathe in and lift your back ribs. Stretch the lower back. Roll the shoulders behind you and tilt your heart up, hugging the elbows closer together in a back bend. Slightly spin your inner thighs towards your rear wall and lengthen the back of your neck. 2 more breaths. Inhale, roll your spine upright. Now bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, lift your heart. Maybe bend the knees with a long spine. Exhale, fold into Padasana. Lifting the toes, slip the palms face up underneath the soles of your feet, stepping on your hands. Try to get your toes to meet the inner creases of your wrists as we stretch the outer wrists. Keep the hands under and inhale, lift your heart through the gates of your arms. Exhale, hinge from your hips and drop your head. Let's stay a few breaths. If you can, bend your elbows apart, lifting the shoulders up away from your neck as you drop your head. Maybe shaking or nodding the head, maybe fluttering the lips to relax the jaw. Option to step back and take a vinyasa or a few rounds of cat-cow from here. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Downward dog, empty the breath and walk or float to the front of your mat with your feet together touching. This time, place your blocks on their tallest height, about a foot in front of your feet, as wide apart as your shoulders distance. Press into the blocks and inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees together again. Join your hands at your heart and chair. And this time, let's create that figure four shape. Turn out the right thigh at the hip. Flex your right foot and cross the ankle over your left thigh, splaying the right thigh open. As you activate your center at your lower belly, draw your hips evenly back and maybe lower. You could choose to raise your arms. You could choose to place your hands in blocks. Or you could choose to add a twist, maybe preparing for an arm balance, grasshopper pose. If you're moving towards the twist, take it layer by layer and see where your body is ready for. Keep your hips leveled, drawing them back. And inhale, lengthen the right arm and spine through your center. Twisting at your waist to the left as you exhale. Either press the back of the right hand against your right flexed sole, or hook the right elbow or upper arm against that foot, joining the hands in prayer, possibly like chair twist. Stay here, continue to twist, or add the layer of the arm balance, grasshopper pose. To get into grasshopper, it's like twisting crow. You want to get that right upper arm high against the sole of your right foot flexed. Then coming forward to the left side of your mat, maybe lift the left leg towards the front wall. Doesn't help if you just put some shea butter on your arms though, kind of slippery. When you're ready, back to figure four chair, rising up, mountain pose. Pause here, tune into the breath. Have you found moments to practice compassionate abiding? Moments of encountering any sort of discomfort where you breathe to let it in as it is. And you breathe out to loosen any grip or tension around it. With feet together, inhale to chair pose. Shift your weight onto your right foot, turn out the left leg. As you flex the left foot, cross the ankle over right thigh, splaying the left thigh open, try to evenly draw your hips back and down, breath by breath. You might keep the hands here or raise the arms overhead. Make sure to keep flexing your left foot. It stabilizes your knee. You might place your hands in blocks or add a twist. Use the right hand to hook the right hip crease back. Left arm forward as you inhale, lengthen the spine. Keep the pelvis still and twist to your right as you exhale. Maybe you press the back of the left hand, the elbow, or the upper arm against the sole of your left flex foot. Maybe you join the hands in prayer and keep twisting. Or prepare for the arm balance, planting the hands outside the right edge of your mat. Grasshopper pose. Slippery grasshopper. And then when you're ready, figure four, chair pose. And rising up, mountain pose. Deep breaths. Let's turn to face the wide width of your mat, preparing for a standing wide-legged forward fold with an option to move into head balance. If you like, bring your blocks in front of you so that you can place your hands on blocks instead of the floor when you're bowing forward. Step your feet wide apart like warrior two and parallel your feet. Bring your hands to your hips and inhale to roll your shoulders back. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips and lengthen your spine as if trying to create a flat back. Bend the knees if needed. Tilt your weight forward to align your hips with your ankles and lower your hands on blocks to the floor. Press your hands down and inhale, lengthen your spine forward, drawing your shoulders back. Exhale, continue to fold. You might clasp your big toes and pull yourself deeper in as you lift the shoulders and drop the head. Or you might enter tripod headstand, planting the hands flat so the fingertips face forward and the elbows bend back, arms like chaturanga parallel to each other. Crown of the head to the floor. Only practice headstand if you are free of any neck issues. You could step your knees on top of your upper arms like crow here. You might straighten the legs up, flex the feet together, and lift the tailbone towards the inner heels. In headstand, you're using your arm strength quite a bit to press the floor away with the hands and lift the shoulders up to lighten the weight on your head, maintaining the natural length in your neck. Whatever inversion, whether wide-legged forward fold or headstand, let's tune into 5 more breaths. Inversions are also helpful to stimulate digestion and to reset the mind, reset the nervous system, stimulate circulation. If your feet are off the ground, gently land, wide-legged forward folds. Let's crawl the hands forward again. Inhale, lengthen forward. Place the left hand front and center on the ground or a block and raise the right arm, turning your chest to the right for a spinal twist. Feel out your hips and make sure you're stabilizing your lower back. Keep your 2 hips leveled. Set the right hand in place of the left and switch sides. Left arm to the sky. Both hands down, turn out the right leg at the hip. Turn out the left leg at the hip. Skindasana, bend the right knee and sink towards your right heel. You could have hands on blocks if that helps. Curl your left toes up, so left knee's pointing towards the sky, left foot is flexed. If you're all the way down and hands are free, you might add a bind here, wrapping the right arm around the right shin, wrapping the left arm behind your back, either holding a strap or clasping the hands as you spiral your chest towards the sky. Let's come back through center. Hands on blocks of the floor. Turn out both legs and bend left knee. Sink your hips towards left heel as you curl right toes up. Right knee points to the sky. If your hands are free, you might enjoy wrap. Left arm around left shin, right arm behind your back. Spiraling your chest to twist towards the sky. Come back through center once again. And this time, pivot your feet to face the front of your mat. Into a lunge, step back to plank. Slow motion, give yourself a few breaths to lower through chaturanga and all the way to the floor. Lying face down. Let's prepare for 2 rounds of bow pose, heart opening back bend that also stimulates digestion. Slide your knees close together and bend them. Reach back with both hands to catch inner or outer feet. Kick your feet evenly into each hand as you pull your feet towards you, lifting your knees no wider apart than hips distance. Press your pubic bone into the floor. Coil your chest up, but look slightly down, giving it 5 to 8 breaths before you let go. When you've let it go, rest in stillness, observing your breath and body for 3 breaths. Prepare for the last bow pose. Slide your knees together, catch your feet, and kick up. 5 to 10 breaths. Once again, be still for 3 breaths to rest after. Let's prepare for single pigeon pose with an option to spiral into thread the needle. So come on up to downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Turn out the thigh and exhale, cross the right shin in front of your pelvis onto your mat. Straighten the left leg behind you with the toes tucked and square your hips evenly to face forward. If your right shin is comfortable paralleling the front edge of your mat, keep your right foot flexed in this posture. If your right glute is a distance away from the floor, take any of your props to fill that gap so you can keep your hips balanced. Then relax your back toes and inhale, lift your heart. Either fold forward, maybe on blocks, or thread left arm underneath right bent elbow and thread the needle. Resting the left side of your head on a prop or the floor. Let's count 10 deep breaths in your version of this hip opener. Start to lift your torso upright. Place your hands alongside your hips and bend your left knee above left hip. Half split or full split, Hanumanasana. As you straighten the right leg in front of you, you might have hands on blocks or the floor. Flex your right foot and press the instep of it forward. If you're moving towards full split, take it slowly. You could place a block under your right hamstring to free up your hands to hold your hips to square forward. If your pelvis meets the ground, I invite you to tuck your left toes so that you're still squaring your hips rather than turning out the left leg. You might clasp the hands overhead in victory mudra, index fingers pointing up, or you might bow forward. Whatever your version, 5 more breaths. Take your time coming back to 3-legged downward facing dog. Inhale, raise, left leg back. Turning out the thigh at the hip. Cross the left shin in front of your pelvis as you lower to sit with right leg straight behind you. Square your hips evenly to face forward. And again, if your left shin comfortably parallels the front edge of your mat, keep your left foot flexed. Notice if it might be helpful to place a prop under your left glute. Then relax your right toes and inhale, lift your chest. Take your time bowing forward or spiraling into thread the needle, where you thread the right arm under your left bent elbow and lower the right side of your head on the ground or your props. 10 breaths. Slowly lifting your torso upright. Bend the right knee and stack the right hip above it while straightening your left leg in front of you, flexing your left foot. Press the instep of your left foot forward and feel free to use blocks under your hands, half or full Hanumanasana. If you're moving towards full, I invite you to tuck your right toes to keep your hips squared forward, not turning out the right leg. You might place a block under the left hamstring. You might lower to sit and raise the arms in Victory Mudra. You might fold forward. Whatever you choose, how might compassionate abiding be helpful here? If you're encountering any sort of discomfort, inhale as you feel the experience as it is. Exhale as you focus on letting go of tension around it or resistance about it. 4 more breaths. Begin to lift your torso upright. Let's straddle the legs apart, facing the wide width of your mat. You may opt to sit on a folded blanket here. Cup the tops of your thighs with your hands and roll your sitting bones to the ground so your knees are pointing upwards. Place your hands in front of you on blocks or the floor. And inhale, lift your heart. Little by little, start to hinge forward from your hips into a version of Upavishta Konasana. 5 to 8 breaths here. Begin to lift your chest. Inhale as you rise up. Bring your hands to your outer thighs and join your legs at the front of your mat for Paschimottanasana. Feet flexed, hips width apart. Option to use a strap around the balls of your feet to help relax your shoulders. Otherwise, you might eventually clasp your big toes. Ground your sitting bones and inhale, lengthen your spine. Little by little, hinge forward from your hips, keeping a slight lift at your heart center. Let's give it about 5 breaths here in Paschimottanasana. Imagine breathing into your whole back body. Press the hips down and inhale. Lead with your heart to rise. As we set up for Shavasana, you might set up for a supported back bend in supported fish pose. Maybe Supta Baddha Konasana, where you draw the knees apart and bring the soles of the feet together. Your choice. If you're going to take the supported fish, you might make an equal sign out of your blocks or a capital T with both blocks medium height. Lean the area just at the bottom inner tips of your shoulder blades on the closest edge of the closest block. so that the back of your skull rests on the further block. Turn your palms to face up and walk your shoulder blades down your back. Close your eyes and allow a moment to scan your whole body. Is it relaxed? Does it feel as symmetrical as possible? Let the breath go, and now rest your attention deeper inward for a few minutes of Shavasana before meditation. Now let your body rest here a little longer. Notice how it feels right now. Begin to gently wake it up. Start with small movements. Graduate into easy stretch. while keeping your eyes closed. Eventually roll over onto your right side, resting your head. Notice the quality of the breath right now. Sense your energy. And take your time lifting your body up. Find a way to sit comfortably and tall, relaxed and grounded for 5 minutes in meditation, where we integrate the practice of compassionate abiding. You might place your hands in a mudra that cultivates neutral witness or equanimity, stacking the palms face up on the center of your lap, thumb tips touching. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze ahead, and let's begin our 5 minutes. In this practice of compassionate abiding, rest for a minute of observing anything that you feel physically, emotionally, energetically, and mentally. And now integrating compassionate abiding. If you so encounter any sort of discomfort, pain, tension, emotionally or physically, mentally or energetically, pause a moment and let the in-breath bring you to that experience with awareness. And let the out-breath invite you to loosen any grip you may have around that experience. Doing this repeatedly each breath. Focus on one thing at a time for several breaths, if there's multiple. Inhale. Allow yourself to feel it just as it is. Exhale. Begin to let go of any tension or resistance around the feeling. This mindfulness practice is based on the belief that much of our inner suffering stems from our own resistance to what's happening in the present moment. And through practice, it's not easy, But through practice, we can catch glimpses of our own capacity to be with whatever kind of experience and allow ourselves to move through it with compassion. Joining your hands in prayer at your heart, sense the energy of your heart and your mind right now. And what's one thing that you feel appreciation for? Bring back your intention you set for this practice. And remember to whom you dedicated this practice. Let's close with 3 chants of Om. Sense the vibration you're both giving and receiving, reminding you of your connection to everything. Inhale. Bow in towards the light within. As Rumi said, you're not just a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.